to our practice for the Yoga Yama Aparigraha. And we're going to be doing this practice in the kitchen of my tiny house. So I'm going to take my bolster and put my yoga blanket underneath it just to lift up the top end a little bit. If you don't have a bolster, you can take a blanket or even a pillow, something to give you a little bit of back support. We're going to start in what's called starfish pose. And starfish pose is a really open pose. It's a bit of a back bend. The legs are a few feet apart and the arms are open out to the side. So everything in the body is open, but you're fully supported. So this is a pose where you can completely let go. We'll use starfish pose for our period of centering, of readying your mind and readying your breath for the practice to come. We feel in starfish pose there's a great deal of space in the front of the body, so we have a lot of room for our inhale. And our exhale is a process of letting go. So we'll start to do a tense and release practice, scrunching the hands, scrunching the toes, scrunching the muscles in the face, getting really tight, and exhale, letting everything go, letting it drop down. And then one more time like that, scrunching the hands, scrunching the feet, getting really tight. Exhale, let everything drop down, become soft. And then I'm going to start to rearrange the legs by bringing the soles of the feet together. So this would be like a supported Supta Baddha Konasana, supported reclined bound angle. And with my legs in this position, bringing hands to the back of the head with the elbows out to the sides, just as long as you don't have any discomfort in the shoulders when you do that. We end up in a position where the knees are open, the elbows are open. We're starting out this practice with a strong sense of opening because that's our focus. That's what we're trying to create, space so that we can let go of grasping. Releasing your arms down, using your arms to help the knees to come together. And then we're going to balance out the hips by taking the knees into internal rotation. We do this by walking the feet out to the sides, letting the knees drop into the center. Now, you may feel that you need to tuck your tailbone away from you to keep your lower back long, making sure that your low back is comfortable in this position. And if it doesn't work for you, you can definitely come off of the bolster and just go flat on the floor to do this. Feeling that different sort of opening in your hips. We do a lot of external rotation in yoga, not as much internal rotation. This is one of my favorite ways to balance that out. Really great way to focus on opening stiffness in the lower back. Using the hands to lift the head up and heel-toeing the feet together slowly. We'll start to draw ourselves off of the bolster or the blanket, whatever prop you are on, and move up into a seated position. I'm just going to move my props out of the way. And if you'd like, you can use your blanket to prop your hips up. If your hips tend to be tight, this is a really great way to keep the alignment in your lower back so we don't sag. And then once we come up into sitting, we're going to go through a little meditation using the mantra Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And we touch one finger for each sound. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Opening the hands. That is our mantra for being able to go along with the flow of life. We'll draw the palms into the heart, and then opening the hands, opening the palms up to the ceiling, creating this little bowl shape. We'll come into our meditation for letting go of worry. On your inhale, drawing the air in through your nose. As you exhale, purse your lips like you're blowing out birthday candles. And you're going to blow your breath directly onto the hands. As you exhale and you blow that air out through the mouth, you're thinking about anything in your life that you need to let go of, any worries that you have, anything emotionally that you're clinging onto that might be holding you back or weighing you down. Letting them go like confetti flying out of your hands as you blow out with the air. After a few breaths like that, feel the hands empty, feel that space, and let the palms float up a few inches higher. Open your fingers, draw the palms together, and bring that into the heart, drawing in that sense of space and openness. Moving into a hip opening sequence, we hold a lot of stuff in our hips, a lot of tension and a lot of emotion. So we want to open up that space. We're going to bring the feet wide, heels in toward the center, toes are open toward the sides. And you're holding on to either your ankle or the arch of the foot with your right hand. Start to sweep the left arm open to the side, a little bit of a twist. Now make sure that you lift up and out of your lower back. Keep your spine lifted. Coming back into the center, we'll do the same thing with the right arm. Sweep your right arm back. Open your palm. This sequence and this practice is all about creating space. Every pose, you're trying to create a sense of opening and being able to let go of holding. Coming through center, lengthen your spine again. You might feel like you can draw the feet closer now that you've been in this position for a few moments. And we'll go over to the left side. Sweep your left arm back, turn your thumb down. Bring your arm behind your back into a bind. You can either press the back of your hand into your lower back or try to wiggle to your hip crease. As you inhale, lengthen up through the spine. As you exhale, find a release in the hips. We'll open up our bind. Stretching the arm out, coming back into center. And we'll go over to the other side with the right arm. Sweeping your right arm open. Thumb is pointing up to the ceiling to start, and then to prep for that bind, drop your thumb to the floor. Sweep it behind the back. And then either rest on your lower back or wiggle into the opposite hip crease. Take your inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Create space in the chest. Lengthen your neck. As you breathe out, soften the holding around your hips. And we'll release our bind, come back through center. Drawing the feet together into Baddha Konasana, bound angle. We'll hold the feet together. Lengthen your spine, draw up from your lower back. As you exhale, moving forward any amount until you start to feel opening on the insides of the hips. Inhaling, drawing yourself back up into a comfortable seat. And once again, the heels come in toward the center, the toes go out toward the sides. You're going to rock yourself back onto your blanket. And you're coming into this version of boat with the knees wide. And the hands come right underneath the lower leg. You might be able to bring your thumb and your first finger to touch in a nice mudra. Then drawing the toes back together And we'll do our second round of Baddha Konasana. And for this second round, I just brought my feet a tiny bit closer to my body. So I'm not going to fold forward quite as much, but it's going to give me a different opening in my inner hips. On your inhale, lifting back up, find length through your spine. We'll bring our legs into a cross-legged position, and then we're going to transition over into Janu on the right side. We're going to stretch our right leg out, draw the left foot in, find some length in your seated posture, and as you exhale, move down into your forward fold, folding from your hip joint, maintaining the space in the front of your body. So the hand position that I usually do when I come into this forward bend is a little cross at my hands, and this just helps me to orient my trunk over the extended leg. Take your inhale, come up, plant your left hand behind you, and we'll lift up into this really spacious pose, resting on your right shin and your left shin and your right foot. And your arm extended up overhead. There's so much space in the front of the body for this one. You can even start to feel a psoas stretch. Lowering yourself back down, we'll move into a side bend, creating space all the way through the rib cage and the waist. Starting with the arm out from the shoulder, then very carefully rotating it so that the pinky drops down toward the floor as you extend the arm overhead. If it feels okay on your neck, try to lift your gaze up toward the ceiling slightly. And it's this feeling of pushing your heart forward, making sure that you're not collapsing down into your chest as you move into your side bend. Taking your inhale, come back up, and we'll go over to the other side. We're going to switch to the left leg, tucking your right foot in. Getting your blanket folded right underneath your sit bones so that it helps your pelvis to roll forward. We want to make sure that the pelvis goes with you as you're going into your forward bend so that there's no pulling on the lower back or the sacrum. Either resting the hands on either side of your leg or holding your foot, or maybe doing this little cross with the hands the way that I like to. Your inhale brings you back up into sitting, and then we'll get ready for our lifted posture, planting your right hand behind you and sweeping your left arm up, resting on the right shin and the left foot, finding as much expansion and space as you can in this pose. It's about creating comfort with space, being able to let go and open up. Your exhale settles the hips back down, and then we'll move right into our side bend, dropping your left arm to the inside of your left leg. The right arm comes straight out from your shoulder to create space in your chest. And when you're ready, starting to reach the arm up overhead, and as the arm goes overhead, rotating the pinky down toward the floor. We need a little external rotation in the shoulder to keep that joint safe. Inhale, draw yourself up into sitting. We'll take the left leg in, folding the legs, letting yourself move down into a forward bend so we can open both hips at the same time here. The palms turn up toward the ceiling. We make this very open gesture with the hands. This is a great time to come back to your pursed lip breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale blowing out through the mouth like you're blowing out candles. And that exhale through pursed lips helps you to let go of things. Come back up into sitting, and we'll take a counter pose, creating space in the front of the body by tenting the fingers behind the back. Take your inhale and let that space roll right up the chest, up into the throat, softening your head back. Just being cautious with your neck. And then we'll tuck the chin and roll back into sitting. So we're going to switch and take the legs out front. Find your boat pose, but we want a really expansive boat. You can see I'm fanning my toes out, my palms are up to the ceiling, and the fingers are open. Make space in the hands and space in the feet. Letting your legs drop down, and then this is where we're going to switch the cross of our legs. You can see wherever you naturally cross your legs, and then you want to go the opposite way. Coming into our forward fold again. Palms turn up to the ceiling, very open hand gesture. Returning to your pursed lip breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, blow out through the mouth like you're blowing out candles. As you inhale, walk yourself back up into sitting. Tent the fingers behind you, and we'll take our back bend to create openness through the trunk, through the front of the body. Lifting with your heart, thinking about lifting the front and the back of your heart. Drawing yourself back into sitting. And we'll start to roll ourselves over toward hands and knees. If you'd like, you can put your blanket right across the center of your mat. This is a great way to pad your knees, to keep your knees happy. They're kind of bony, and the floor in my tiny house is very hard, so I like to use my blanket to create a little extra cushion on top of my mat. You're going to lift your hips up and back into down dog. See if you need to pedal your feet and create some space in the calves. Then we do this move where we exhale and bend the knees like you're sitting into a chair. Inhale, open the hips up, create length through your torso. Exhale, knees bend. Inhale, press the hips up and back. Now let's move into a lunge. We'll step our right foot up in between the hands. Let your left knee drop down. See if you want to prop underneath there. Don't let your back knee get uncomfortable. We plant the left hand underneath your shoulder, and you can make a fist with your hand if you'd like to get a little extra height. And the right hand is going to press right against the top of the thigh to create this gentle twist to start out. And then opening the right arm up to the ceiling. Wide fingers, wide reach. Feeling this nice twist, creating openness through the center of your body. And then if you'd like, we'll go into this nice hip opener, which I call floating pigeon. You're going to let your right knee roll out toward the side, so you end up resting on the pinky toe side of your foot, the outer edge of your foot. Just being very careful that as you come into this variation, you don't have any discomfort in your knee. Drawing back to center. Tucking your back toes underneath, lift your back knee. We'll step the right leg back. Good. Exhale, bend the knees down. Inhale, press the hips up. One more time like that. Exhale, knees bend. Inhale, press the hips back. Make space. Now let's go over to the left side. Tuck your left leg underneath you carefully. Step the left foot up. Let your right knee drop down. Release your right toes. And here we'll start to move into our twist. Your right hand is directly underneath your shoulder. Put your left palm onto your thigh, giving some pressure into the left hand to open the shoulders into a gentle twist. You can stay there, or you can open the arm all the way up into your twist. Looking at your top fingers, seeing how wide you can make your hands. Spread your fingers out. That's going to help you to lift the pressure out of the bottom arm. And see if you want to go into that floating pigeon variation on this side. You're going to let your left knee drop open, resting on the outer edge of your left foot, but only coming here if you know your knee is healthy and you don't experience any discomfort as you come into it. Drawing your knee back to center, dropping your arm down. Let's curl our back toes under, lift our back knee, step your left leg back into down dog, and then one more round. Exhale, bend the knees, inhale, press the hips up. Exhale, bend the knees, inhale, lengthen, and then your last one like that. Exhale, and inhale, lengthen, and we'll drop the knees all the way down to the mat. Sliding your knees out wide, take a really wide version of child's pose, letting your head come down to rest on the mat, turning your palms up to the ceiling in this gesture of openness. We settle ourselves on this idea of Aparigraha, of non-grasping. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to hear from you. Namaste.